Okay, I don't know what exactly happened. I had a lot of technical problems just now trying to get this stream up and running. I would start the stream and OBS would show me 99% dropped frames, and then YouTube was showing nothing was coming through. And I think it's just the CPU is just too old. I don't think there's a hardware problem. I just think that the modern software is just too demanding for an old DDR3 platform. So this is the final live stream that I'm going to be doing looking at the DDR3 computer. So this is the Intel Haswell i7-4770K. And we aren't even using the CPU to encode the live stream. I am using an AMD Radeon RX 6950 XT. And I can already see, so yeah, we got about, okay, so this GPU is handling the encoding you can see here, so that to alleviate the CPU. But the CPU, for some reason, I think the Windows anti-malware service executable, every time I run an application that hasn't run in a while on this computer, because this computer is running a really old installation of Windows 10, it's had to do a ton of updates in the past few days, and every time I start up an application, anti-malware service executable in Windows 10 runs, and this CPU just barely can handle that application, and it causes the computer to be very, very slow, and that's probably why this was at like 90% just a second ago. So what I had to do was I updated the drivers and restarted the computer, and now I'm not getting any dropped frames. But I don't know why that problem was happening. But regardless, here we are. We finally have the final look at the Intel i7-4770K. This is going to be the final live stream featuring DDR3, featuring the old 4th gen flagship from 2013. Now, remember what I said last time I used this PC? I told you guys we were using the GTX 1080 SLI. I said we were going to eliminate the GPU bottleneck by putting in a GPU so powerful that the Haswell basically will always be the bottleneck, because I want to remove the likelihood of a GPU bottleneck for this CPU. So let's take a look with the RX 6950 XT. This is what I had readily available because the 3090 Ti and 3080 Ti are in another computer. You know, they're still waiting to go. They're back here in this computer over here. So we have 3090 Ti and 3080 Ti. I like how the 3090 Ti and the 3080 Ti, they look like, I don't know, like brothers or something, or mother and son, or mother and daughter, or whatever. It's like it's like a GPU family right here. The funny thing is these two GPUs have literally the exact same die. They're both GA102. They're the full die, except the 3080 Ti is a cut down die, and the 3090 Ti is the fully unlocked die. So this computer is the D2, and I was testing it earlier today. Yeah, that 3090 Ti is no joke. It uses a ton of electricity. So this is going to be it. The final look at Haswell. The focus is going to be on CPU here. No, that's a different live stream. 5700 XT did not win the votes, so we won't be showcasing that. The Vega 64 won the votes, but that's going to be in a different computer. That will be featured later on in a separate stream alongside the Zen 3. Well, yeah, the Zen 3 5800X. We're just going to go to 5800X. We're not done with GTX 1080 SLI. First, I have to do GTX 1080 SLI with the 5800X. Then we're going to do Vega 64 Crossfire on 5800X. And then we'll go from there. Then we're probably going to do 3090 Ti. Or maybe I'll do 3090 Ti and 3080 Ti with non-NVLink. The only thing about those two GPUs, man, these GPUs over here, these two are scary amounts of power. I get kind of concerned when these two GPUs are running AI workloads, when they're inferencing, because I can immediately feel the heat source next to me, because the 3090 Ti has a low loud hum, like a boo sound. And the 3080 Ti, this thing is obnoxiously loud. It's terribly loud with that 2-slot cooler for a 350 watt TDP. Just completely inadequate cooler for a 350 watt GPU. But these two together, this is 450 plus 350. That is 800 watts of electricity, and the power supply is choking on carpeted floor, guys. The fan, because of this case, I can't flip the power supply where the fan is up. So it's like having to suck in air from the carpeted floor while pulling like 1000 watts with the D2 in there. The D2 also is on the higher side in terms of power consumption. So this computer is a little bit concerning. Like it exhausts so much heat into the room, and it's very dangerous. Like, it's, first of all, it has this thing, which I'm not too concerned about, but when I put my hand near these fins on the 3090 Ti, there is an insane amount of heat going around the connector that it's just, I just hate this connector. I hate everything about this stupid connector. It's garbage. It's so garbage. But at least the 3090 Ti has the ability to load balance across 3 different pairs of the hot wire pins, so it's not really a big problem for the 3090 Ti specifically. So because I didn't want to run any sort of risk of 3090 Ti, we're going to use, as well as Intel or NVIDIA driver overhead, because the Intel CPU is already overwhelmed. Haswell is so old and struggles to keep up that now that I have put in the 6950 XT, the CPU is going to be the bottleneck 100% of the time, no matter what. Because I didn't want to go with something even faster, because I could have gone all the way up to an RTX 4090. We could have, there's 2 GPUs that were available besides, well, actually 3 GPUs that were available besides the 6950 XT. There was the 4080S, the 4090, the 7900 XTX, and, well, the 4090. So basically, there are 3 GPUs that are all faster than the 6950 XT that I could have used, but I already know that the Haswell is so old and it struggles to keep up. Pairing it up with something like a 4090 would be kind of a joke. Like, it would just be so terrible. So, I don't even think we'd be getting 60 FPS in anything. So, we're going to do the 6950 XT because I think that this is the closest one that will try to minimize the GPU trying to tug the CPU along. You know, like an old dog that can barely walk. Because I feel like that's kind of what's going to happen here when we use this 4770K. So here we go. Let's see what can happen. We were already having issues earlier. Let's go and start off here with Pragmata, because this is a game that we tested before and had lots of problems with rubber banding stutters because the CPU couldn't keep up with the game. But I also didn't know if SLI was causing micro stutters. So now we're going with a super souped up single GPU. And what happened? Okay, why is this thing way over here? Triple monitors. We're going triple monitors. Okay. We're going to leave the task manager up for a little while. Let's just make this go back down a little bit here. Oh, why is it? Okay, because... Oh, no. It's on a 4K OLED. It's on a 4K OLED. Well, that's going to remove some of the GPU or the GPU. That's actually going to introduce some of a GPU bottleneck. But we're not going to play the game at 4K, so it doesn't really matter. I forgot to change the resolution on the monitor, but I ran into so many technical issues trying to get the live stream to even start on this old machine that, yeah, I'm not even sure if we need to change the resolution. Alright, here we go. 6950 XT, 32 gigabytes of DDR3 is the maximum amount of DDR3 that one could possibly even hope to have, because The motherboard doesn't even support more than 32 gigs. So this is 4 sticks. So this is 8 times 4. Each one of these DIMMs are 8 gigs. For DDR3, that's a lot. So just to kind of show that, you can see right in there. Oh, I took off the second Noctua fan, the front one here, because I can't even close the tower because this case is way too old and way too narrow. And the Noctua D15 is so thick that, look at that. Look at that. The second fan overhangs the door. I can't even close the case with the second fan on here. So I took it off. But you can see the 4 sticks of DDR3, ancient DDR3, Patriot and Radeon Performance Series memory. That's what we've got. Classic stuff. When you run 4 sticks, you cannot run above 1600 DDR3. Especially on dual rank DIMMs like these. So this is the limit. This is the maximum we can get on a Haswell. When you played Quake 2 RTX on 3090 Ti, you had power spikes. So, yeah, I'm not about to have the computer like randomly shut off. Now, we are using a power supply that can handle the spikes. The only thing is the 3090 well, okay, 6950 XT and 3090 Ti both have the same power spikes. 6950 XT can spike up to almost 700 watts. This GPU is scary. This is a scary, scary GPU. So we have a power spike. Corsair HX 1200 can handle the spikes. It is one of the few power supplies that will not shut off. Alright, let's see what we got here. We're going to play this game at 1080p. We're going to go up in resolution. We're going to start with 1080p. We're going to start with... let's just turn this off. We don't even need this. 100%... 1080p, we should be able to max all the RT and everything. Because we're on a more powerful GPU now, we can max out all the graphics stuff. This is going to also, I don't understand what this means. Whatever. And then volumetric, max it out. Subsurface scattering, turn everything on. Max everything. Here we go. 1080p though, because we're gonna hold to the oh yeah, ray tracing, turn that on. We're gonna hold this to the CPU bottleneck. Wait for it. It's thinking about it. Wait for it. Okay. Alright. Now we have the RT turned on in the RE engine. The rare 6950 XT. Okay, here we are. So, what happens when you take a souped-up GPU and an ancient dinosaur CPU and you run them in the same computer? Wait, the micro stutters are gone? That means that was an SLI bug. The random rubber banding is gone. Or is it showing up on the stream? The stream doesn't actually look as smooth as the, I don't have any... Uh-oh, encoding overloaded, encoding overloaded. Alright, hold on. We're running into the same problem that we saw with the Intel B70. Oh no, wait, the 6950 XT can't take 4K. It can't, because it is a 4K monitor. That's why the native resolution output is still 4K. So I'm gonna have to change my encoder settings real quick. Alright, hold on. We gotta stop the stream. It's smooth for me. It's not smooth for the viewers, though. I gotta stop... Okay. I should be live, but I think there may be a problem due, like a something to do with the Intel Killer Network, something that wasn't installed before, because the last live stream I did with this computer, it was installed, or no, it wasn't installed. So there's some kind of Ethernet Intel Killer, this thing, Killer Performance. I'll probably have to uninstall this stupid app because I think this is probably what's causing it. Because Windows is still starting it in the background. So yeah, I think this application, Intel Killer whatever thing is probably the root of the problem, because it was never happening before. Because what's happening is every time I stop the OBS stream, I see, like, when I restart it, it's like OBS can't send any of the frames. All the frames get dropped on the way out, so you guys never see it. So it's almost like the application inside, the Intel Killer performance networking thing, whatever this QoS software thing, that's the stupid Intel driver thing kept bugging me to install until I finally installed it. Now this thing is probably causing the problem. Because when I rebooted the computer, this is the second time I rebooted the computer. Oh, see, encoder overload. Why is the encoder overload? Why is the CPU at 100% utilization? The CPU just ramps up to 100%. Oh, because of the stupid Windows 10 anti-malware service executable wants to run, because I've never opened the Intel Killer app before. See, this is the reason why people go to Linux. People hate Windows for this reason. So much stupid, unnecessary background garbage. Although, granted, newer hardware won't have this problem, but older hardware will definitely struggle. That's why older hardware always ends up with Linux at the end of the day. Yeah, there's this weird app that I installed, Intel Killer whatever thing. I need to uninstall it because it's stupid. Just open Control Panel and uninstall it. How about that? But then Intel's dumb driver assistance thing is going to start bothering me to install it again. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I don't really use this computer much anymore. Intel. Yeah, there's like all this Intel stuff that got installed. Intel Security Assist. Intel Smart Connect Technology. Intel drivers. Intel Driver Support Assist is the thing that kept bugging me to install this thing. So, where is this? Killer Performance Driver Suite. Uninstall this garbage. Close out of this. Just uninstall this garbage. Yeah, even just doing basic things in Control Panel makes the computer so slow. Oh man, it's so slow just to uninstall something. That's probably what was causing us this problem. Because it's funny, you must restart your computer for the changes made to the killer performance taking effect. Restart later. I mean, it's not running anymore, is it? It shouldn't be. The stupid thing's still running. So, well, then they didn't actually uninstall it. Yeah, this is why people go to Linux, guys. Like, this is actually the reason why people... This is one of the major reasons why people actually go to Linux. Anyway, so if the encoder overload happens again, it's not actually happening because of the GPU. It's actually happening because the CPU gets stuck at 100%, and the GPU it wonders if it's still there. So that means there's going to be some insane rubber banding in terms of frame rates here and weird behavior because the GPU is way too powerful for the CPU. This is like I have a 1,000 horsepower engine with like 10-inch wheels. 10-inch wheels with a 1,000 horsepower engine. We got like little bicycle. We got tricycle wheels with a 1,000 horsepower V12. That's what this is going to feel like. All right, let's try this again. I'm going to ignore if it starts showing encoder overload. I'm going to check to see if the GPU is in fact overloaded, and it shouldn't be. But if it is, we're going to just have to ignore it because I'm not going to put up with stopping this and starting this again, and then it getting stuck because of the killer networking thing, causing it to block all the packets from OBS. Alright, let's try this again. Yeah, 6950 XT is really powerful. This thing is like 3080 Ti. This is like 3080 Ti or 3090 levels of power. Alright, let's just go back in. Actually, I think it saved my settings. Yeah, we got all this stuff turned on. Where's the... I think the RT. The RT, like, really messes with the CPU, though. Apparently, ray tracing makes the CPU, like, die. Because it's like, I had it turned off for the 1080s. I turn it on, and then the CPU just goes to 100%, gets stuck. Alright, here we go. Oh, encoder overload. Let me check that, because is it actually the encoder?
All better now.
No, it's not the encoder, because the encoder is at 66% load, so it's definitely the CPU. Yeah, it's a CPU. You can even tell from Task Manager. Oh my goodness, the CPU is dying. The CPU is literally dying as soon as I start running. You can see it. Check this out. Watch what happens as soon as I start running. As soon as the character starts moving. I can put this, like, here. It's already dying. You can see, like, look at that. It can't even handle this. Oh my goodness. We aren't even using the CPU to encode the live stream. We're using the GPU and it still can't keep up with the GPU. Look at that. GPU is doing the encoding. Codec 1 is handling this using H.264. I think we're using H.264 or HDVC. It's because we can't do AV1 because the 6950 XT can't do AV1 encode. So we're having to do old school H.264 or HEVC. But regardless, we're not overloaded. If this was hitting 100%, then the stream would be lagging. So the problem is actually the CPU cannot keep up with feeding the GPU to do the encode. Yeah, as soon as I start moving around, encoding overloaded, consider turning down video settings. So this is how a CPU gets replaced, guys. You're witnessing what forces people to upgrade their computer. So you imagine if somebody went and like bought an RTX 5090 and they paired it up. If someone paid $4,000 for a 5090 and they paired it up with this CPU, and this is only 1080p. That's what makes this even worse. This is 1080p. And and the CPU is stuck at 100% utilization. So that proves that we can't play this modern game with this CPU. Immediately exit. And bam, all of a sudden the CPU drops to 30% utilization. Look at that. The GPU is still encoding the live stream at 66%, 70% utilization. So that is, you're witnessing how a CPU dies, or what forces people to upgrade. This is what it looks like. This is what it looks like when a CPU becomes too old. Alright, let's try. I knew I didn't need the 4090 for this. I was thinking of trying the 4090. I'm so glad I didn't even bother, man. I didn't even bother messing with that GPU for this. It's not worth it. Alright, we're gonna try... Yeah, resolution will affect the GPU more. Uh-oh, here we go. Uh-oh, here we go. Can it handle it? I can't tell. I mean, it's trying to load the next game, I guess. It's trying to do something. Did the game... Is the game even responding? What's going on here? Oh, there we go. Oh, no! Shaders! Oh man, shader compiling, shader compiling. Oh no. Oh man, 100% utilization, shader compiling, Unreal Engine 5 compiling. Oh no. Oh man, the CPU. Oh no, my Haswell, my poor Haswell. Haswell, at least I got the original packaging. Oh man. Mint condition. Mint condition. Haswell. I don't know what that thing is, but it's a Haswell. 4770K. Core Intel Core i7 processor 4770K. Oh man, it's under 100% load. Yeah, all the fans. Oh, well, the fans, surprisingly, the Noctua is so big and powerful. The D15 is so thick that this CPU is only doing 57 Celsius under full load, 100% maxed out. I used to have this CPU overclocked when I used it as my main CPU years ago. I had it overclocked to 4.4 gigahertz. Basically, I had it overclocked to be like a 4790K. But ever since I dug it out of storage, I cleared CMOS because I was messing with the RAM to test the memory sticks out of storage, and so I lost my overclock, and I don't remember my settings. But yeah, I did have it overclocked. This is stock. It lost the overclock when I cleared CMOS. That extra speed's not gonna save it from this. This is too modern. You do realize this is a 13-year-old CPU, right? This is why I tell people 3, 5, 7, 3 years, 5. You either upgrade every 3 years, 5 years, or 7 years. This is 13 years. This is almost twice the amount of time of what I consider the absolute maximum, which is 7 years. This is almost 14 years. Think about that. Yeah, I don't know. We're not gonna be able to show a lot of like gameplay. I have a feeling. What's funny is the GTX 1080 SLI was a much better pair. It was a much better matchup with this CPU compared to the 6950 XT. The 6950 XT is just way too OP for this CPU to keep up with. So it's like the CPU just kind of like keeps stalling out because it doesn't know how to react. Seven years is the maximum. You shouldn't go beyond 7 years. First of all, you have no more warranty at that point. And even enterprises swap no later than 7 years. Unless we're talking like industrial stuff. Then it goes longer. But that's completely different. That's commercial grade, for one thing. That's completely different from consumer grade, is what this stuff is. Alright, we'll turn this off. We don't need this light on. It's just generating more heat. We can have the Radeon logo in the dark. Yeah, 7 years is the maximum. Here's kind of like a secret thing. Everyone watching this is going to learn something like secret knowledge right now. I'm about to reveal a secret knowledge. So, that 7-year thing, 3, 5, 7 years, is 100% real. And one of the ways that you know it's real, consoles. Consoles go to 7 years. What does that mean? That means every 7 years, they introduce the next generation of consoles. So do the math. When did the PS5 come out? November 2020. Add 7 years from November 2020. That's when the PS6 comes out. Mark my words. You heard it here first. You don't need leaks. You don't need speculation. You know, unless some natural disaster happens that forces factories to be shut down or ships to be grounded or stranded. They can't like leave the ports. Unless something catastrophic like that happens. November next year. Mark my words, PS6. Seven years. Consoles always maximize the amount of time. But remember what I said. 7 years is the maximum amount of time you can take. And the consoles actually are one of the few things that go to the 7 year mark. Most things don't go to full 7 years. No, it doesn't. That's your opinion. Yet that's your idea of how long you want to keep hardware. That has nothing to do with how the industry works. The industry works like clockwork. 357. It's 357. It's always 357. I mean, you can keep your hardware as long as you want. I mean, look at me. I'm streaming on a 4770K right now. Clearly, this is way beyond 7 years. This is almost twice the lifespan. This is literally twice the lifespan. Three in 90s, five in 2007. I don't. Is that your? So you upgraded every 3 years in the 90s, every 5 years in the 2000s, and every 7 years in like the 2010s. Is that what you're saying? Because I'm just saying in general. I'm just telling you guys how the industry works. The problem now is that hardware is more expensive than. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's a real problem. You know what's weird? This is the only console generation where the price of the consoles never actually went. Well, okay, it did dip down a little bit. You could find some good sales during certain years, but in general, you look at the price of the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X at launch, even the Nintendo Switch 2, and then you look at the price of them now. The price actually went up, not down. This is the strangest thing to see consoles actually appreciate in value on the secondhand market compared to every other console generation prior. Very, very weird. Very strange times. But what that does indicate is that it is going to force people to stick to their hardware longer than they would have liked to. So yeah, upgrade cycles are probably going to stretch. Enthusiasts typically do 2 to 3 years. Some are 5 years. But most enthusiasts upgrade within 5 years. But the average person is more like 5 to 7 years. And some people go away, like non-enthusiasts, non-gamers, they go longer. They'll probably go longer than 7 years. It's unlikely that most of them would, but a lot of them actually do. Man, I just realized I'm gonna have to shader compile all my games because I switched graphics cards. That's the reason why I was like, why are we shader compiling? It's because we changed to this 6950 XT, so now I have to recompile everything. Okay, let's see. Oh dear. Oh no, we're not doing this. We gotta lower this. We're gonna have to go to, I think it's gonna require... How does this game work? Does it actually allow... we go to full screen. Full screen. 1440p. Oh boy. It moved it on me. Okay, 1440p. They need to fix their UI. Either their UI is really bad, or my CPU is so bad that their UI moves terribly slow. Alright, we're gonna do 1440p native. Whatever, it's native, so it doesn't really, this stuff doesn't even do anything. Frame rate limit, 100, whatever. Okay, oh dear. What do we want to do? Do we test CPU bottleneck? CPU bottleneck it is. I guess. I don't know why. Oh, this is all on low because of last time. It's telling me the encoder is overloaded, but why is it overloaded? It's not the fault of the GPU, looking at this. But the CPU is also not at 100%. As soon as I go in the game, it tells me that the encoder is overloaded. Oh wait, don't turn that on right now. Let's just do this. Let's try this. Man, this is... Okay. Alright, here we go. Hey, it's actually running pretty good. I'm not getting any encoder lag or nothing. The CPU is at 93 to 96% utilization though, which is very concerning, but this is a very well optimized game. We're getting like above 60 FPS at native 1440p on high settings with no RT. So that's pretty good actually. Oh wait, do I not have the ability to parry him? Did I remove it? Oh yeah, I have the gun power-up move. Oh, that red means he'll throw? Oh man, I transformed back. Can that guy fall? Oh! Oh! Huh? Huh? Did he die? I can't loot him. Wait, he fell through the map. He literally no-clipped into the back. What? He's in the back rooms. I can't loot him now. I think he dropped something. Oh, I can't get his loot now because he like went into the back rooms. Are you serious? Hold on, maybe I can save him from that place if I like reset or something. Is he back? Okay, he respawned. Alright, whatever. Alright, so this game, I do have to tweak the settings a little bit because I am noticing during combat with enemies, it is dipping below. It is dipping below. It's getting like 55 FPS during combat. I noticed that. So something probably... What is the most CPU demanding effect out of all this stuff? Probably draw distance. But I don't think draw distance was the actual problem, but I'll lower this. I'll lower this also. Oh, view distance. Well, RT's not on. I have RT turned off. Yeah, it's off. This game probably uses Lumen, though, since it's UE5, so there's probably some software RT, so the global illumination would affect that. Actually, it says it in the thing. Like, it says right here. Setting of high and above use more accurate ray tracing. Okay, so lowering it to medium probably turns off Lumen. Okay. That guy fell in that hole. But he didn't die, though, so I wonder, can I go down in there? What if I go in there? Well, okay, that's what happens if I go in there. I was thinking, like, is there like a hidden area? Because he didn't die. I didn't get any of his souls or whatever. So I'm like, okay, apparently he doesn't die from that. But I do die from that. Why does it seem like the game is running worse with medium? Is it just me? Or it seems like we've reduced the draw distance, but I notice it falls to like 53 a lot now. What's up with that? Why is the... Oh, play test area limit. You can't go past here. Open beta. Can't go in. They got some Lord of the Rings stuff going on here. This game is kind of like Shadows of Mordor mixed with Dark Souls. That's what it seems like. You should limit the FPS to 60. Okay. So wait, now I look at the sky. It can get up to 60, it doesn't go above 60. Well, it still seems to be kind of the same. CPU utilization, though. CPU utilization. CPU 103% utilization. You know what? I have a feeling Windows anti-malware service executable is running, because it wasn't running at the beginning. I bet that's what it is. Let me check something. Windows service anti-malware executable was causing all kinds of problems at the beginning of the stream, which is why I started the stream super late. Okay, it looks like it is running, but it's not running that much. The game is showing 69% utilization just in Task Manager. We're gonna do this. We're gonna make everything go to the low settings. And then make this go back up. 'Cause, 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 'c It barely helped. I mean, it looks like it's on low settings. It looks like it is above 60 now. But you can, that tells you CPU bound. 102% CPU utilization. Oh my goodness. The CPU. Oh man, the CPU is dying. The CPU is dying. It's making so much noise. Oh, my CPU is dying. My GPU is only at... The GPU is literally silent. I can't hear it. I can only hear the Noctua. The Noctua is going crazy. CPU! Don't die! Don't die, Haswell! I need you! Oh my goodness, the CPU! Wow, I think that's... Hold on, I gotta change it. I gotta raise the settings, guys. I gotta raise the settings. I gotta raise the settings. The CPU, the fan. The Noctua fan is scaring me. The Noctua fan is scaring me. It's so loud. Whoa. Oh, man. Whoa. Oh, man. I can feel the fan. The fan. Whoa. The GPU is barely... Look, why is this thing spinning? Why are you spinning? Oh, because the spikes! The spikes! The power spikes are hitting 700 watts. The power spikes are hitting 700 watts. HX 1200 is being overwhelmed. Look, since when do you see an HX 1200 spin the fan? It normally doesn't spin. Oh, man. The D15. So much air. There's so much air. It's not that hot though, because the CPU doesn't use that much electricity, but there is some weird stuff going on here. Oh man, this is an interesting experiment, combining a GPU that's way too powerful for a CPU and see what happens. This thing is like, yeah, it's like we're barely moving. Oh man, CPU is going crazy. Okay, hold on. Let me go back in and see if that fixed it. The reason why you see the game like where it looks like the stream like pauses for a second, that's because I'm having to go back into the game, and the game is in exclusive full screen mode. Okay, well. Oh, there it goes again. There it goes again. I can hear the Noctua. Oh man, CPU. Oh man, it drops to 50. CPU bottleneck. CPU bottleneck during combat. No matter what, we're on the lowest settings. We're on the lowest settings and we're getting the stutters during combat. CPU bottleneck. Oh, we don't have any bullets. Oh, man. I mean, the whole platform is the bottleneck.
You've done well. Perhaps you really are this harbinger. But few remain, and even fewer are unguarded.
Okay, we're gonna switch games. It does seem like the game is well, actually, I don't know if I like playing the game like this. First of all, I'm playing the game on the lowest settings. Second of all, the only time the frame rate is above 60 is when I'm not in combat. Every time I go in combat, the CPU has to calculate the player data and the NPC AI data, and it just kills the frame rate. So it's like I don't really consider this a really good experience. Although we are getting higher frame rates than what we saw with GTX 1080, that's for sure. It's just not really, I mean, look at the minimum, like look at how it falls down. Oh, we can do FSR. Well, let me get away from this guy. I might get that NPC attacking me or something. Let me go back over here. Yeah, we can try FSR. You know what? Let's do that. Maybe frame gen is the answer. Let's go back to high settings. And here we go. Secret technique of FSR. Oh, no, not that. That'll cause it to crash. Okay, here we go. FSR, frame rate unlimited, number of frames to generate. Select the number of frames to be generated, frame gen if selected. Okay. Okay. Whoa, 100 FPS. 100 FPS. Oh no, there's rubber banding. I can feel the rubber banding though. That's really bad. It's like you're playing, it's like playing Fortnite with lag. I can feel, it's like, I feel like there's rubber banding. I can feel it. Every 3 steps, I can feel like I'm lagging. It's a strange feeling. But that's how you know it's the frame gen is getting lagged by the CPU. This doesn't feel that smooth. It looks like it is, but it's not. Look at that minimum 22. 20 frames, 22 FPS. Upscale it up to 40, and that's your minimum. That's really bad. This is... I don't know about this. You're saying to use this. This is not our problem, though. Our problem is not render resolution. Alright, hold on, I got an idea. Actually, let's try this first. Okay, hold on. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. We're at 50. Yeah, we're like at the 50. CPU, man. This is not good. This CPU right now. Okay. There we go. Here we go. Ultra performance. Maximum frame tolerance. Here we go. Alright. Now we're getting shimmers because there's not enough data. Oh, we're getting shimmers because there's not enough data. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. The base frame rate is too low. We're getting about 50-something frames at 144p or 360p. Or 144p or 240p. We're at 240p right now, upscaled to 1440p. This is not working. It's not working. 53. Yeah, this is definitely a CPU bottleneck. This is what it looks like. Alright. How do I go to the lowest settings? Low settings. Everything low. Ultra performance. 1440. No, let's do... Yeah, 1440p. That's fine. Okay, now we have the lowest of the low. Hey, 70. Wait, what? We can play the game at 240p. At 240p with everything on low, and it looks like our CPU is now at 95% utilization. 99% utilization at 240p. Low settings. What is this? I don't want to play the game like this. At least the shimmering went away. Don't have any more sparkles. CPU bottleneck. Okay, that's enough. I've had enough of this. Next game. I've had enough. This is just awful. This is awful. Get this game out of here. Next game. That was terrible. Okay, let's try one of the best games ever from 2024. I know somebody who only upgraded from Haswell 4 years ago. A little over 4 years ago. So I helped somebody. Oh no. Here we go again. Oh no. Wait, why is it always so gigantic? Oh, here we go. Compiling shaders. 100%. Man, I helped somebody 4 years ago. It was May 2022. May 2022. I helped somebody upgrade from a i7-4770K Haswell Devil's Canyon to brand new, just released, AAA scores on the reviews, S tier reviews, 5800X3D. And the difference between Guild Wars 2, like world versus world, going from 4790K to 5800X3D was night and day. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw the difference. Because first he showed me, like, I was like, why you want to upgrade? And he's like, well, when I play multiplayer games, PvP and stuff like that, it's like so laggy and so bad in like a 64 player map. It's really bad. So then I was like, okay, yeah, that's because your CPU bottlenecked. And he had a GTX 1080. GTX 1080. And he paired up with 4790K with 16 gigs of DDR3 at 1600. And he went from that old DDR3, he went from 16 gigs. While we're waiting for this, hold on, let's bring out Paint while we're waiting on this thing. Might as well. Yeah, let's bring Paint up. Hold on, now I gotta move some stuff around though. Okay, so this was the old computer. The old computer was i7-4790K, 16 GB DDR3, 1600, GTX 1080. This was the computer. The year was May 2022. And the upgrade was from this to Ryzen 7 5800X3D, 64 GB DDR4, 3200, and the GTX 1080 was a carryover. But so he only upgraded the motherboard, the RAM, and the CPU in May of 2022. Later on that year, was it that year? Trying to remember, what was the year? Yeah, yeah. Later that year, he did end up upgrading to an RX. I think it was this year, 6800. Yeah, it was the special Black Friday deal where you could get a 6800 XT or a 6900 XT from Newegg, and I forget, there was like 3 free games. It was those AMD games. One of them was one of the really good games too. I forgot what it was. So yeah, he went from this to this. This was like the ultimate upgrade right here. This is probably the biggest jump I've seen in all the upgrades that I've seen over the years. This by far takes the cake in terms of the biggest upgrade I have seen. Because my upgrade, I'll tell you, like, that year, I upgraded myself. So this is my friend's upgrade. But then later that year, I also did an upgrade. My 2022 upgrade was the following. I went from Ryzen 7 5800X with 64 GB DDR4 3200. And what was the GPU? I don't remember what the GPU was. RX 6900. Yeah, RX 6900 XT. So I went from this to Ryzen 9 7950X with 60 or 90. Was it 90? No, 96 didn't come out at that time. 64 GB DDR5. What was the RAM? 5600. And what was the GPU upgrade? Oh, duh. How can I forget? 7900 XTX. So that was the upgrade. Yeah. So compare the difference, though. Who got a higher percentage uplift in performance? Me or my friend? Obviously, my friend, man. Look at the difference, though. I went from Zen 3 and DDR4 and RDNA 2 to Zen 4, Zen 3 to Zen 4, DDR4 to DDR5, RDNA 2 flagship to RDNA 3 flagship. That was the difference in 2022. That was 4 years ago. You guys are waiting for the Zen 6. The question is he editing? Me or my friend? My friend does not do any editing. No editing. Just gaming. That's all. Just gaming. So that gives you guys an idea. Like, this is the difference between... But see, here's the reality. This is a normal gamer upgrading. This is an enthusiast upgrading. Do you notice the difference? The enthusiast upgrade is not that big of a jump over, like, an average person upgrading. Because an average gamer upgrading, they don't upgrade that often. They don't upgrade that often. And this is the thing I try to tell people. Like, people do not realize that the average individual who has a computer, they don't upgrade that often. A true tech enthusiast pretty much upgrades either every generation or every other generation. So it sounds kind of weird, but it's true enthusiasts know what I'm saying is true, and it's normal because they've been there, they've done that, they know what it's like. So, I mean, I know people who went from the RTX 4090 to RTX 5090. Like, that, most people wouldn't even consider that worth it. Because you're going, not only are you getting an increase in power consumption and noise and heat, you're also increasing the risk of the cable melting, because the 5090 is more likely to melt the cable than the 4090 was. And the 4090 was still capable of melting the cable. So it's like, but still a bunch of people do that. So, there are several people who watch this channel that fall into that category of individuals who went from 4090 to 5090. But imagine going from this to this. Like, that is a huge upgrade. We're talking, like, think about it. Like, we can break this down, analyze this further, just move this out of the way, or we'll just leave it. Like, this is basically, this is going, like, what is he going? He's going from 4 core, 8 thread to 8 core, 16 thread. That is a huge difference in multi-thread performance. But also because the CPU is so much newer than the other one, that is a massive difference in terms of IPC and single thread performance. And then he's going from 16 gigabyte DDR3 to 64 gigabytes. That's 4x the capacity. 4x the capacity and double the bandwidth. I mean, that is a huge upgrade in memory bandwidth and capacity. And then the GPU upgrade, this is like, if you convert this to like if we were to do Radeon or NVIDIA comparisons, like if you want to translate the GPU upgrade is like going from GTX 1080 to RTX 3080. Like, that's basically what the upgrade is like. Or, to put things in another way, that's like saying RX Vega 64 going to RX 6800 XT. But I think most people will probably recognize the NVIDIA percentages. So if we convert that AMD 6800 XT into an NVIDIA card, that's like going to an RTX 3080 from a GTX 1080. So that is still a massive upgrade on the GPU side. And on top of that, he went from 8 gigabyte VRAM to 16 gigabyte VRAM. Double, 2x the VRAM. So 4x the capacity in RAM and 2x the capacity in video RAM. That is a massive upgrade. Insane upgrade. AMD Athlon X64 X2 4200 to wait, what? That upgrade right there is that's like jumping in time by like 5 decades or something. Like, in terms of if you convert that into like human years, that's crazy. An Athlon 64. An Athlon 64, like real, like Athlon 64. Are you serious? Athlon 64, that was like my first CPU. Yeah, 3770K to 5600X, that's very similar to what he did. Because 3770K was almost as fast as 4770K. The difference is like 5 to 15% depending on the game. But they're really not that much of a difference, though. They're both DDR3. They're both 4-core, 8-thread. So, yeah. I mean, you look at the generational changes, right? Like, PCIe 3.0, like, what introduced i7-4770K introduced PCIe 3.0. Then we had Ryzen 7 3800X introduced PCIe 4.0. So this was in 2012. This was in 2019. Then, let me think here. i7-12700K introduced PCIe 5.0 in 2021. So this gives people an idea of technology. Like, technology, because everyone's like, oh, where's PCIe? Where's PCIe Gen 6? Well, PCIe Gen 6 actually exists. It's only in data center, and NVIDIA is the only one that uses it for AI. But you got to remember PCI 5.0 basically came out like at the tail end of the pandemic. So it hasn't really been out that long. The way I look at it is PCIe 5 kind of lines up with DDR5 because DDR5 was also introduced in this time. PCIe 3 was like a DDR3 era thing, but it overstayed its welcome well into the DDR4 world. It wasn't until Zen 2 that we got PCI 4.0 in 2019. But like I said on the last episode of Tech Thursdays, PCI 4.0 was very short lived. I mean, a lot of people have Gen 4 NVMe drives or graphics cards, but the reality is, like, literally the difference between when PCI 4 was introduced versus when PCI 5 was introduced was literally like 2 to 2.5 years. So Gen 5, came out really quick. And Intel, man, we talked about this. Like, Intel released Gen 4 late, like very, very late in 2021. They finally caught up to AMD with Gen 4, but then they were like, okay, let's do a double launch, introduce 12th Gen, and now we got Gen 5. But they only had Gen 5 for the PCIe slot. They didn't have any NVMe because their motherboards didn't have the lanes. It wasn't until like 2022 was when PCIe 5.0 really started getting good motherboards such as X670E, Z790. Like, those things were 2022 stuff. So, but I prefer Z690 for several reasons. The only thing that Z790 does better than Z690 is the memory traces. But Z690 is better than Z790 in every way imaginable other than memory overclocking. Why? Because Z690, hold on, get this out of the way. Z690 is greater than Z790. One, Z690 support is the last chipset to support SLI and NVLink. If you ever want to run a retro SLI or NVLink dual GPU setup, you gotta go Z690. And only certain very expensive Z690 flagship boards have the NVIDIA license key. So that's number one, probably the best reason why. And that's the reason why you go look on eBay, those Z690 motherboards that have SLI support, they aren't cheap. They're not cheap. Those things hold their resale value compared to Z790. So the other reason Z690 doesn't take lanes from the GPU for Gen 5 NVMe. But the downside of it is that it doesn't actually have Gen 5 NVMe. It has Gen 5 for the graphics card slot, but not for the M.2. So, but as a result, you don't have to worry about the dreaded lane sharing. The biggest problem with Z790 is the primary NVMe is Gen 5 capable, but in order to do that, they steal lanes from the graphics card. So that's the other reason why Z790 is terrible. So I don't know why I'm talking about this, but it's because I'll show you why we're talking about this. Because we're only at 50% of the way there on the shader compile. That's why we're talking about this. I'm having to buy time because it's taking forever just to load the game. Man, Haswell is not doing too good here on those shader compiles. So anyway, all right, so Gen 4 short-lived. Those weren't the only ones. Did you forget the AMD cards? What was the first Gen 4 graphics card? What was the world's first Gen 4 gamer GPU? There were a lot of Gen 4 GPUs. The answer is... Max already got it. It was RDNA 1. The RX 5700 XT / non-XT. This was the first. MX450 is not a consumer GPU. I don't even know what the MX450 is a mobile thing. That doesn't count. 5700 XT is the correct answer. It's very easy to remember. It's very easy to remember because July 7th, 2019, Zen 2, RDNA 1, like they launched the same day. So it's like if you remember July 7th, 2019, you know that's the day the Ryzen 3000 and the world's first PCI Gen 4 GPU were introduced. Yeah. So no, there's a bunch. So RDNA 1, RDNA 2, RDNA 3 is Gen 4. So Gen 4 GPUs. RDNA 1, RTX 30, RDNA 2, RTX 40, RDNA 3. All of these are Gen 4. So you have 3 AMD generations and 2 NVIDIA generations. So, no, I think there was a lot of Gen 4 GPUs. So you look at Gen 3, how many Gen 3 GPUs were there? This one's harder to remember. I gotta think way back. So, oh man. I think it was HD 7000. So it's like Gen 3 GPUs were HD 7000. GTX was GTX 600. Oh boy, I can't remember if GTX 600, if Kepler was Kepler the first Gen 3 from NVIDIA, or was Fermi the first? Maybe Fermi was the first one? I can't remember actually. I gotta look it up. I actually have to look it up. I don't remember. Was it Fermi? Whoever's saying GTX 200 is completely wrong. It's way wrong. Didn't I just say earlier here that Gen 3 was introduced in 2012 with Intel's 3rd gen? So any GPU older than 2012 is obviously not Gen 3. Just FYI. So that's an easy way to tell. So it's definitely... I'm pretty sure... I know HD 7000. I'm not sure if 600 was... Maybe 600 was NVIDIA's first. I think maybe GTX 600. Something tells me Kepler... Something tells me Fermi was Gen 2. Fermi had to be Gen 2, because Fermi was 2010. So it must have been Kepler. Wait, why is it... Okay, so Kepler... And then we had... Big Kepler. Then we had R9 200. And then GTX 900, R9 300. So, okay, wait. Then GTX 10. Then, what was the AMD one? Oh, the RX 400, RX 500, RTX 20, and that was basically it. So yeah, okay, so there was more Gen 3. Like, what, how many AMD? There was like 1, 2, 3, 4. There was like 5 AMD versus 3 over here. And then Nvidia had 1, 2, or 6 and 7 are the same. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 Nvidia, 5 AMD, and over here we had 3 AMD and 2 Nvidia. PCIe generations. PCIe generations. PCIe 3, PCIe 4, PCIe 5. That's what we're talking about. This is PCIe 3. This is PCIe 4. So yeah, you guys are right. Gen 3 was longer lived. AMD had 2 more generations and Nvidia had 1 more generation or something like that. Because these are the same thing. That's Kepler. You had Kepler, Maxwell, Pascal, Turing. So you had 4 Nvidias. Versus here you had Ampere and you had Ada. And then here you had... Basically, it's actually pretty simple. All of the GCN, all of the AMD GCN, basically GCN equals PCIe Gen 3. All of AMD's GCN equals PCIe 3.0. That is so easy to remember. I've never even realized that until now. NVIDIA's the harder one to remember because of all the different name changes. But AMD, all you gotta do, if it's GCN, it's PCIe 3. If it's RDNA 1, 2, 3, it's Gen 4. All the RDNA stuff is Gen 4. RDNA 4 is their first Gen 5. So, that's really interesting. Man, I'm running out of things to talk about just because this is taking so long. This is taking so long. Oh my goodness, Haswell, you are retiring after this live stream. You are going back into retirement. Yeah, this thing is definitely going back into retirement. Look at that. It's barely moving. I mean, at least the frame rate's really high, 200 frames per second. I'm actually concerned for the GPU because the GPU is like at 80 degrees Celsius and it's like 200 degrees, is doing nothing. I can feel the heat. I can feel that heat. Oh my goodness, is the fan spinning? Oh man, that Corsair is spinning. Whoa, the Corsair power supply. The fan, I've never seen the HX 1200 is spinning so fast. Whoa, look at that power supply. Look at that power supply. 1200 watt power supply is going crazy right now with the fan spinning. Because of the spikes, the 6950 XT can spike to over 650 watts on the transient spikes. This is the reason why this GPU can literally cause power supplies to shut off your computer if you have a weak power supply or an overly strict power supply in terms of dealing with transient loads. You want to test your power supply. You test it with 6950 XT or 3090 Ti or 3090, although 3090 is not as bad. So definitely 3090 Ti, 5090, 6950 XT, 6900 XT, or the Vega 64. All of those GPUs can push over 600 watt on a transient spike instantaneously. The 5090 can push like over 800. But yeah, those are some scary power supplies. They cause the fans on these silent power supplies to spin. That's how you know there's problems. There it goes. There it goes. Transient loads. There's way too many transient loads because the frame rate is 220 FPS. 220 FPS right now. That's causing, I can feel the heat. I can literally feel the heat radiating from this Radeon reference cooler. Transient spikes. The CPU is so CPU bound right now, I can't even get the browser to open up a new window. It's like so slow. It's not even responding. I've been trying to open the browser forever and it's not even opening up. Oh man, I can feel the heat on that power supply. Yeah, it's dealing with a lot of transient spikes right now because of that 200 something FPS. You never want these type of GPUs to stay over 200 FPS for very long. Power limiting does help. Yeah, it does help. Yeah, there's so much heat right now. There's so much heat right now. CPU is stuck at 100%. I can't even get the browser to open up another window. It's so overloaded right now. No, the power supply is not overloaded. It's transient spikes. It's not about the total load. That's not what the concern is. It's transient spikes. The power supply basically is designed so that, okay, like this is your 1200 watt maximum. So, but the thing is, impulse response, transient load. These things, there is a feature in power supplies called OCP, OCV, or no, OVP, OPP. What are these things? Who can tell me what these three acronyms stand for? What does the first one mean? Let's see here who knows their power supply. What is OCP? Overcurrent protection. Good. Overcurrent protection. What about this other one? What's OVP? These other ones people probably know even less about. Alright, we're running out of time. It's almost done with the compile. But anyway, we have over voltage protection and over power protection. Over voltage protection, over power protection. So what happens is the power supplies are designed to tolerate certain spikes and treat them as normal behavior. But if they are designed to basically, like if we're talking the limit of a transient spike, so let's say the transient spike is like up to here. So this would be like 600 watts. This is like 1200 watts or whatever, we'll just say. Well, this doesn't look like it's to scale. Let's say you have a 1000 watt power supply and it can tolerate within a certain, I forget what the millisecond response time is, but within a certain amount of milliseconds or microseconds, it can tolerate excursions above 50% load. Now, for an extended period of time, if that time is exceeded, meaning if that transient load goes beyond a certain time t interval, this is time t, if it goes beyond a certain interval, the power supply will automatically activate one of these three, depending on what is detected. If the current is the thing that is over threshold for a certain duration, it'll shut off the computer. It'll cut power automatically. So, if your computer is randomly shutting off while gaming with uncapped frame rates, keyword, uncapped frame rates, you probably are hitting overcurrent protection or probably overcurrent protection. And if you have a 3090 Ti, you're more likely to experience this. If you have a 6900 XT or a 6950 XT, you're definitely prone to experiencing this. If you have a Vega 64, you are prone to experiencing this. All of those GPUs are notorious for causing this behavior. So, there was a video that I saw recently from a much larger YouTube channel where they were testing Crossfire, and their computer was shutting off. They thought that there was something wrong with their GPU, or they suspected the power supply. But the problem was there's nothing wrong with their hardware. The problem was their power supply was basically doing what it thinks is the right thing, and that's to turn off the computer when it detects a power spike. It's not as tolerant as other power supplies, such as the HX1200, for example, which is very tolerant of power spikes, at least the one from CWT, which is the one that I'm using. That's the reason why my computer didn't shut off while we were compiling shaders. I can guarantee if I was using my old Seasonic 1000 watt, this live stream would have already shut off while we were compiling that game, because that power supply would have tripped OCP. So anyway, that is that. Game is finally loaded. I don't know how it's going to perform, but we're going to test it right now. Dragon's Dogma 2. 1440p. And we're going to do whatever, variable, I guess. Everything maxed out. Everything maxed out. This is one of the most CPU bottleneck. This is one of the most CPU demanding games from 2024. This is a 2-year-old game, and it's going to get a big update soon. It's actually going to get like 3 updates this year. Alright, CPU is at 103% load. Let's see what happens. Here we go. Okay, we're in. Oh, wait, what? 24 what? Whoa, yeah, it's CPU bottleneck. Let's hold on. I want to make sure something though. I don't remember how this game actually performs on this GPU. So I need to probably lower the resolution just to make sure. Let's do 1080p. 1080p. It's still the same FPS, which means it's a CPU bottleneck. And yeah, because the GPU's like at 67%, you can already tell it's a CPU bottleneck. Also, my GPU quieted down. My power supply fan's not spinning anymore. That means we're no longer getting very, very high power spikes from the GPU, which basically means we're CPU bound. The GPU is barely even doing anything right now. Yeah, strangely enough, we are... this is the same result that we were getting with GTX 1080 SLI when we were... I think we were using FrameGen. I'd have to go back and look. Now, this game doesn't have FrameGen for FSR. Actually, no, we could not have been using FrameGen with the 1080. So that means I was doing the 720p test. Yeah, I was doing 720p test on the GTX 1080. So let's do that now. We'll try FSR next. Okay. I am able to get it above 30 now, but it's still... See how it still kind of like falls to like right around 30? This is 720p. So... Okay, let's go back into the town and see what happens. Yeah, we approached the town, and I can already feel the frame latency. Man, it's CPU bottlenecked like crazy. What happened here? Let me see what happened. Oh, man.
If I might be so bold as to speak my mind, Vernworth is home to a veritable
This is kind of... This is it, guys. This is the end of a CPU. Although, it probably was already... a long time ago, it was over. Well, the head of the dragon thing got cut off. I just now noticed that. Wow. Alright, well, I can't play the game like this. This feels really bad to play. Even though this is one of those games that I plan to revisit. Man, this is one that I have to play on the D2. I want to see how much that 9950 X3D2 just crushes this game. Brute forces its way through this game with the RTX 3090 Ti and 3080 Ti. GPUs that are quite similar to this one, actually. The 3080 Ti and the 6950 XT are basically the exact same performance level. The 3090 Ti is more like a 7900 XT, so it is a bit more powerful than this. But not by much. Maybe like 10% faster. 10 to 15% faster. Man, this Haswell is struggling, though. Oh, it's not pretty. Look at this. What if we go outside? Does it improve? Can we get back to 30? We're playing the game at 720p. Just so you guys know, those who weren't paying attention. Hey, we're getting... Hold on. If I stare at the ground... Oh, look, I can play the game like this and get almost 60 FPS at 720p. Check it out. Whoa. I don't know where I'm going, though. What if I run into a tree? Whoa, I almost fell off the cliff. Whoa. Whoa. Almost fell off the... Okay, yeah, that proves that we can't play the game like this. This is just not going to work. This is not feasible, man.
I wonder how many corners we have left.
This is so bad. This is so bad. Gaming on DDR3 in 2026. Hold on. In the city, can I get above 30? Oh, in the city, I can't get above 30. Oh, no. I'm right around like 30. Oh, look. I'm getting just above 30. Hold on. What if I stare at the sky? What if I play this way? Oh, yeah. Check it out. If I play the game like this, I can get 30 FPS. Almost. Almost. Pro gaming. Pro gaming. No X3D here. Oh, man. Look at this. Gamers. Gaming. DDR3. DDR3. Quad core. Quad core. Quad core coming through. Alright, that's it. I'm done with this. I can't stand this. This is so bad. I waited, what, 35 minutes for the shader compiling just to play a game like that? No way, that's not happening. Man. It takes that long just to get to the main menu. That tells you there's a problem. Okay, I don't know. I kind of think there's no point in testing. Okay, let's test one. We'll test 2 more games. We'll test 2 more games. I want to see if this last one will work. We already showed FX 8350 last week. So if you missed that, you might want to go back and look at that live stream. I'll just put it this way: 8350 didn't even get a chance to be worthy of using the 6950 XT. It didn't even progress past 1080 SLI. So that's all you need to know, I guess. But you should probably check out that last year if you actually want to see. Oh no! Oh no! Oh! The bane of an old CPU. Shader compile. Man, I pre-compiled this off stream, but I realized it's because I updated the drivers when I was troubleshooting because the stream wasn't starting on time. I updated the AMD driver and then I rebooted the computer, so now I have to recompile every single game. Oh no, you gotta be kidding me again. Man. How much of this stream was actually gameplay? I feel like most of the stream wasn't even gameplay. It was just this. It was just this. The shader compiles are literally just an excuse to draw on paint the whole time. Like, for real. Anyway, back to overcurrent protection. So basically, if your computer is shutting off while gaming, and you have one of the GPUs that I just mentioned, or you have a high wattage GPU like a 4090 or a 3090, or, you know, something, the 7900 XTX, and your computer is shutting off, try capping your frame rate to 60 FPS and see if that eliminates the shutting off behavior. If it does, that means your power supply doesn't tolerate extended durations of high frequency transient spikes, and that basically means the fix is to get a better power supply. But sometimes it doesn't mean a better power supply is automatically going to work. So like if you get a Seasonic, especially some of those older Seasonics, those things were completely intolerant of those spikes. A Seasonic 1000 watt prime titanium would shut off my computer while using Vega 64 on Final Fantasy 15. Like, not Final Fantasy 16, I'm talking Final Fantasy 15. Back in, like, 2018. You know what I'm saying? Or 2017. So it's like, yeah. And that was a Seasonic. So, and Seasonic has a good, like, typically a good reputation. So it's like, that's what made me go away from Seasonic. Because I knew I didn't have a hardware problem. Yeah, well, this is the last Haswell stream, so, it was good in its time. I will say, this 4770K, this was my primary CPU from June 2013 all the way to March 2017. So I almost did 4 years with this one computer, one CPU. You know, this was replaced by first gen Ryzen 7 1800X with the initial launch of Zen and the AM4 socket. I don't know because I have not used a Seasonic in years, so I wouldn't be able to answer that question. That's the reason why I typically go with Corsair. Anything CWT I know is tolerant of the spikes, as well as I think some of the like the new super flowers, they also work. So super flower, CWT, those are my two choices. Yeah, that's probably because the why would it make a pop sound though on the power supply instead of the circuit? That sounds like your GFCI is probably not good on that one circuit. You need to check your GFCI, assuming there is one, or the ground, or like the neutral. I mean the ground pin. Actually, this one is going faster than Dragon's Dogma. Yeah, Dragon's Dogma was just insane. This one's actually going a little bit faster. But I can tell you right now, I can feel the heat. I can feel that heat. The GPU, man, the GPU. Is it spinning? Oh, no, wait, hold on. Actually, hold on. It's not spinning right now. It's quiet right now. The older system may be good for retro emulation. No, the newer ones would be better. What do you mean by retro emulation? If you're talking about like PS3 emulation, no, the newer CPUs will do a lot better. I guess if you mean like playing older games, like old PC games on like Windows 7 using or Windows XP or something, I guess, but you could always just use a VM for that. So I don't know if that's even worth you like dedicating an old like a case and a power supply and all that stuff to an old motherboard and an old CPU. I'm gonna tell you guys what's gonna happen after this. After this stream, this computer is gonna get disassembled. This whole computer is gonna get disassembled. For real. Like this is like literally the title of the stream. The title of the stream is The End of Haswell. Like this is the end of Haswell. After this stream, you will never see this build ever again. At least not on this channel. It's going to be completely disassembled. That computer that we built last Tuesday, I did the live stream build for this PC. Actually, it was the FX8350, which has already been disassembled, replaced by this thing. Well, now this thing is going to be disassembled and taken apart. So, this power supply, I can tell you right now, because you guys voted this past weekend for Vega 64 Crossfire X, dual Vega 64s, this is the power supply that I will be using for the Vega 64 Crossfire. Because the Vega 64 Crossfire is incredibly scary and frightening to use. Because those GPUs, but each one of them can spike to about 700 watts each. That means they can hit potentially 1400 watts with just two graphics cards at a transient load. And I don't have a power supply. I have one power supply that has more than 1400 watt total capacity. But I don't need that for that. So we're using HX1200 because HX1200 is built like a tank. This thing is CWT. It can handle all the transient loads from dual Vega 64s. Dual Vega 64s are just as bad as like dual 5090s or dual 3090 Ti. They might even be a little bit worse than the dual 5090s. Just because those things, like, they're very, very unpredictable. We'll say unpredictable in terms of their spike behavior. They can spike at any moment. So, yeah. This is the reason why I got rid of my Seasonic, because the Seasonic couldn't handle them. It, like, every time something would happen, it would just shut off the computer. I want to do something, shut off the computer. Move the camera, shut off the computer. So I'm like, yeah, no. HX 1200 fixed all the problems. So this is the one, this is the OG that can handle all the spikes. So this is exactly what we're going to be using. This is my test bench case. The Hades case, this thing is so good, I can take it apart. I can literally remove the top. I can take this off and it becomes, and then lay this down on a table, and then I literally have like a frame for like an open bench test computer. It has a massive 200 millimeter fan on the intake. You can see it on the other side there. See that giant fan in there? That's the original fan. Original back fan too. This case is from the year 2010. This is my second PC case. Alright. We're in. RE engine. Okay, so it changed some of the setting. It changed some of the settings because it went to Radeon. That's why. I was testing this game previously with RTX 3090 Ti. Not in this motherboard, though. Alright, so we're gonna have to go and change the settings probably inside the game. Oh, it's actually at 4K right now. Yeah, this is at 4K. Oh, man. Okay. Oh, come on. No, Intel, don't mess up. Okay, yeah, it's just it has to deal with anti-service malware executable, or anti-malware service executable has to run at the beginning. That's why the game is always super stuttery on these old CPUs at the very beginning. So, alright, let's take a look. We're playing the game at 4K resolution. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Okay, it's actually 1440p. 1440p, ray tracing is, everything is max, everything is max, except we're playing on 1440. So let's take a look. CPU is at 102% utilization. It's already maxed out. It's already struggling. 60 degrees Celsius on the CPU. That's the hottest I've seen it get. But we're getting like 30 FPS. GPU is at 68% utilization. So you can tell we are definitely CPU bound right now. This is 100% CPU bottleneck right now. In the town area. But you know what though? This game has frame gen. And we're at like 30 FPS right now. So we may be able to use frame gen to fix all the issues. This is with all the optimizations. Capcom did a lot of optimizations though, because this game, I'm surprised we're actually getting this much frame with this old CPU. And the CPU is at 104% utilization right now. 105% utilization. Man. It is saying, oh, and saying the encoder is overloaded because the CPU is at 105%. So now, let's do this. It'll come back. It's just Intel got to get through all those things. Hold on. Just wait for it. It knows. Come on, Haswell. Oh no, it says the program is not responding. Wait, no, hold on. Wait, you gotta wait. No, just wait. No, don't exit. Wait for it. Come on. It's because the CPU was at 105% when I tried to turn it on. Oh, I probably should have lowered the resolution first. Well... Let me see. Yeah, I think the game... Alright, hold on. Let's try relaunching the game then, I guess. We'll try relaunching the game. And the program. Oh my goodness, are you serious? I have to kill the task in Task Manager probably? Why is the music still playing? Okay, there we go. Okay. Let's try it, launching it one more time. Oh wait, okay, yeah, there we go. So I had to wait for it to upload the save file. What I'll do is I'll turn on all the do all the setting changes before loading into an area. That'll be how to fix it probably. Hold on, I need to check one thing. Oh no, because we were doing frame gen fine on those other ones. The weird thing about Windows 10 has some kind of weird behavior though, compared to Windows 11. Where sometimes, like, you don't have full control over the hardware accelerated scheduling setting. It's, like, kind of hidden. Unless you're on GeForce. If you're on the other two, I don't think you have direct control over it. Although you have to change it through the registry. But Windows 11, it's there. It's only on Windows 10. Okay, frame gen... Hold on, let me do this. I want to try to, like, lower... Let's just do 1080p first. And then what happens if I do this? Is this gonna mess it up? Oh my goodness, okay. So it does seem like it's some kind of problem with this game, specifically. I think I've encountered this with the RTX 30 series. When I try to turn on frame gen on Windows 10, it does this with the 30 series in this game. Which means it's a bug with hardware accelerated scheduling. Yeah, it's the same stupid thing. Alright. Let's just close. I guess we're just not going to be able to... Yeah, we're just going to have to, like... Why is the music still playing? Why does the music... There we go. Like, why does it do that? And then it's like continues to play. Like, why does it keep doing that? Okay, the CPU is like... Even with the game off, the CPU is still running at like 20 to 40% because of background stuff. Just because of like the stream and everything. So, yeah, this is probably not happening. We can try, I guess, another game. I think we're kind of done. We're at like an hour and 45, so I think that's gonna be it. Oh, let me see. We'll probably test like one more game. I want to test an older game. I'm gonna test a game that I know has gotten a lot of updates over the years and is much harder to run than it was when it was new. Oh no, 100%. 100%. Oh no, here we go. Oh man. $100%. This is a game that once upon a time, it was easy enough for this CPU to handle it very, very well. In fact, 8350 could handle the game really well. But now, because of what the updates were from 2 years ago, actually for over the last like decade, really. But it's been over the last 2 expansions, this game has become significantly harder to run. So let's see, but it seems okay. It seems to be working. But look at the CPU though. It's still 100% utilization. It's still trying to like bring up the thing. I don't know about this. Oh, there we go. Oh, but the CPU again. It's struggling to load in on a SATA SSD. All this stuff's on SATA SSD. Because there's no NVMEs on this. Oh, man. This game actually used to be easy for this CPU to run. What is this, planned obsolescence? This game is from 2013. Now, granted, it became harder and harder to run. But my goodness, these... Oh, man, it's choppy. But it's not encoder. There's no encoder overload, though. Oh, my goodness. It's running so bad. DX11 at its finest. DX11. Oh, man. Vegas. Vegas. DX11. Wait, what? Huh? Wait, what? DX11. Why is this moving like this? This is so bad. We're getting 25 frames per second in the game. My UI is all messed up because it's on... whatever. It's because this computer never used to run this at this settings. Alright, hold on. I gotta figure out what to do about this. Let's do 50% of 4K, I guess. Does that do anything? That doesn't even do anything! It's so CPU bound! It's 100% CPU bottlenecked! 100%! It won't stay like this, though. It will not stay like this. We just have to wait for it to get through the anti-malware service executable scan. The Haswell is so slow at letting that process from Windows. See, this is the thing, guys. It's a Windows thing. It's everyone's favorite. Windows. Everybody loves Windows. Everyone wants to use Windows. This is Windows. This isn't even Windows 11. This is Windows 10. Oh, the load times. Oh my goodness. The SSD isn't even the bottleneck here. It's the CPU. Finally. 100% CPU utilization. So this is what it's like to play Final Fantasy XIV at 100% CPU. I'm getting 27 frames per second. This is... Alright, well... I guess this is where it ends. I guess this is where Haswell says its goodbyes. The end of an era. Well, I guess that era was long gone since we're in DDR5 and this is DDR3. So, I would like to see the CPU, like, go down in utilization. go to 5960X. It's funny, you assume that I have those. It's like I just magically happen to have those CPUs. I don't have those CPUs. I've never had an Intel HEDT platform. Yeah, well, this is, come on, you can do it. You can do it. I want to see that. Well, I know it's not going to stay at 100%. It better not stay at 100%. Come on. You can do it. Come on, hurry up. Get that anti-service or anti-malware service thing done. Man. It runs so bad. Hold on. Let's go outside the city. Maybe if I go outside the city. You know what? I don't actually think it's going to improve. I think it's literally maxed out because of the game. Hold on. If I go away from the other players, like if I go outside the city, maybe it'll get better. It's so weird because this game, dude, like I used to stream this game years ago on well, was it on this CPU? It might have been on Ryzen actually. So maybe I never did. Oh no, yeah, no, that's not true. I did stream. Back when I used to stream on Twitch, I streamed with the 4770K, and I did stream this game. So this game, planned obsolescence. They made the game so much harder to run than it used to be. And it doesn't even look that much better. It still looks basically the same. I don't even know if like Windows is the thing to blame or what, or the game, or planned obsolescence through the game updates, or what. This game is from 2013. This game is literally the same age as this CPU. The only difference is when it launched, it was DX9. Then in 2015, they added a DX11 version of it, which they've been using ever since. This is atrocious. I think it's more of like an operating system overhead or something. Wait, all of a sudden... Whoa, 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 whoa. All of a sudden it got better, but it's still pretty bad, though. Not once did it ever say encoder lag, though, which is interesting. I highly doubt that Square Enix would change the instruction set for this game. Just so you guys know, this game at launch was playable on PS3. On PS3. PS3, yeah, PS3 from 2006. PS3 with like 256 gigs of RAM. Did I say 256? Yeah, I did. 256 megabytes of RAM. PS3 could play this game more than 10 years ago. And now Haswell can barely even handle this game. Although, whoa, it's all of a sudden, my CPU is now at like 85% utilization. And all of a sudden, it's so much smoother. I knew it would do it. I knew it would finally get through. Yeah, now I'm getting 40 FPS. I can feel the difference. 49 FPS. 49 FPS. This is at 1080p resolution. Let's go to 4K resolution. Max it out. And we're still getting 45 FPS, which means the GPU is not the problem. And we are definitely CPU limited here. Because now I'm playing the game at 4K resolution on a 6950 XT. 6950 XT can handle this game at 4K native resolution. But we're only getting 42 to 50 FPS. We're basically CPU limited. If I use FSR1 to 50% of 4K, aka 1080p. 1080p, same exact frame rate. So that means CPU bottleneck. But I did want to play it long enough to see the FPS go up because I know that it could have done that. It's because now our CPU is only at that percentage. 83. That's why all of a sudden the FPS is better. Man. This is insane. A game that was totally playable with the 4770K all those years ago. Even up to 2017. I was playing this on the 4770K in 2017. Now, granted, that's literally, what, 9 years ago? Oh, yeah. Only 9 years ago. It was totally playable almost a decade ago on this CPU. We're getting about 40 FPS. 40 to 50 FPS. Yeah, well. Alright, well, I wanted to test an older game. A game that I know a bunch of people who play this game are still on ancient computers. And they suffer with like 40-something FPS. So now I know why. It's because of their CPU. There's people that went and bought 5090 to play this game. And I told them not to do it. And they're complaining because they get about 47 FPS. So basically, they got 0% improvement going from I think they had like a 6800 XT and they went to 5090, and they basically gained no frame rates. Like the frames exactly the same. Why? Because they're on something similar to this. It's something a little bit newer than this. I think it's like 60. It's i5-6600K. Yeah, i5-6600K. But 5090 plus i5 is already a bad combination. Just saying. So, but that CPU does have DDR4 though, so it has much more memory bandwidth. You'll trade them. You'll trade for a 5090 and a Skylake from 2015. Why would you want that Skylake from 2015? That's like worth nothing. Alright, well, in the city, I'm getting way lower FPS. I'm back to 27 to 30 FPS. See that? 27 to 30 FPS. 26 FPS. It's sub 30 in the city. And the CPU utilization is like 93. So yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of it. That's the end of the line for Haswell. When the game released, you had Windows 8. Yeah, I actually never used Windows 8. I was actually on Windows 7 back in the day. I was on Windows 7 from 2010 all the way to 2016. I didn't go to Windows 10 immediately. I went to Windows 10 a year after it had been out, which would have been 2016. So yeah, I went to Windows 10 10 years ago, and then I was on Windows 10 until 2023, so 3 years ago. So yeah, I spent a lot of time on Windows 10. And to see Windows 10 this bloated now and just... I mean, now, the thing is, if you're on a modern CPU, Windows 10 is going to be fine. But if you're on some old thing like this, yeah, it's not good. It's totally not good. Alright, guys, well, I think that does it. I think that was... I wanted to test one last game, which we never tested on the other computers. But anyway... that's probably going to be it. This is the end of the Haswell. I said I was going to pair this CPU up with a super powerful GPU by comparison. And these are the results. So we learned a very valuable lesson. Do not pair up an old CPU with a powerful GPU. You're just asking for trouble or a very, very disappointing experience. Alright, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you guys on Tech Thursdays. If you're new to the channel, we do a live stream show every Thursdays called Tech Thursdays, and it's going to be all things technology based. This week, we're going to be talking about everybody's favorite topic, AI. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be talking a lot about AI on this episode of Tech Thursdays. So maybe if you don't like AI, maybe you don't want to tune in, but I think you're still going to get some interesting insight into what happens with AI behind the scenes from a technical standpoint, because that's what the focus will be on. We might talk about newer upcoming hardware, like, I don't know, we talked about Nova Lake last week, and there is a video up on the channel based off of last week's episode of Tech Thursdays, which is all about Nova Lake. So we might actually talk about Zen 6. Yeah, we'll probably talk about Zen 6 this time. After we're done talking about AI. But anyway, that's going to be it. Thanks for tuning in as always, guys, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in.